Namaste, beautiful. Welcome to Trikonasana class. Today I will teach you triangle pose. I will teach you the traditional Hatha version in which I just was. I will teach you some modifications for those with a little bit less flexibility. And finally, I will teach you the Ashtanga Style for those who want to or do practice Ashtanga. Amazing. So, Trikonasana, triangle pose, standing posture, which means that we are working on our strength and our stability. We are also working on flexibility in pretty much the whole body. This pose is one of the best for tackling everything, right? You got the balance, you got the strength, you got the flexibility, and anything that we are doing to affect our body, then we are doing the same with our mind, with our life, right? So if we are building this strength, stability, flexibility on the mat, then it will translate to our life off of the mat. That's why we practice yoga. Yeah? All right, amazing. So let's start with the basics. So I will show you what the traditional Hatha pose looks like, and then I will show you how to modify it from there based on your personal preferences as well as your body's current level of flexibility and mobility. Okay, so let's start with the feet together and then just kind of jump the feet apart. So they want to be about 3 to 4 feet apart, but of course, depending on your height, it's going to be a little bit different. So take something that feels like pretty comfortable, but maybe a little bit wider than feels comfortable. Yeah. And so let's start with the right foot first. So we're going to rotate our right foot so that it's pointing forward, but we're going to keep our hips so that they are pointing to the side. And we're going to keep the left foot so it's pointing to the side. Okay? Then we're going to reach the hands out. And so now in order to kind of get into the correct position, we're going to shift the hips over to the left. Okay, so we're shifting our hips left. And then we're reaching out over to the right. And then as we continue reaching, now we're going to start reaching down, right? Because we can't really continue to reach to the right. This is about as far as we can go. So once we reach as far as we can go, then we start to reach down toward the floor. Now, this hip is going to want to come forward. So we want to really concentrate on keeping our left hip, our back hip, out. Okay? So if you need to hold it with your hand, go ahead and hold it. You can even hold your right hip as well. Yeah, so if this is your first time trying it, or if you are trying to, really get it right, go ahead and hold your hips and hold them in place as you then take the upper body down toward the floor. So the traditional pose, we're taking our right hand all the way down to the floor. We're taking it to the outside of our right foot. So that way we're really, really opening here. If we take it to the front, it kind of is going to cause us to close the chest a little bit, to close the heart a little bit. And while this is a variation that we have in modern yoga, some people like to put their hand to the front. Traditionally, we want to have it to the back. This way we're really opening our chest. And then when we reach our hand up, we're opening our chest even more. So alignment-wise, we want for our hips, or for our butt basically, to be as if we can even have something behind us if we want to, right? We can take a wall, we can stand so that we have a wall to our back. And then we want for both of our butt cheeks to stay there as we then come down into the pose. So if you want to go ahead and try that, at the point that the left one wants to come like this, stop there. Or You can take your feet wider if you're like, oh, but I want to get my hand down farther. You can take your feet wider. That's okay too. Yeah. Sometimes I kind of was like originally taught that you want the stance to be a little bit shorter, but then I had another teacher that was like, no, you can bring it out more. It actually, try if you bring it out more. And so I started doing that, and I actually quite like how it feels to bring it out more. Yeah. So just play around, see what feels best in your body. You can have it out more or you can have it in more. It really is up to you. But really what we want is to make sure that our hips are squared to the front, that our chest is open here, and then we're looking up towards our left hand. Okay? So we're moving in the direction of having the right hand on the floor, right? So wherever we are mobility-wise, we can just be going in this direction. So you can hover the hand. You can hover it in the front or you can hover it in the back. Of course, my recommendation is going to be that you hover it in the back. So then you're working all the way down to the full expression of the pose. If we want to have our hand touching something, we can take a block. And then we can use the block behind us or in front of us. So then we can have our hand here. And so then sometimes, if we can be having the hand on something, it kind of allows to concentrate a little bit more on keeping the hips open and, concentrate a little bit more on the alignment rather than like just trying to stay stable while you're hovering. Yeah, so that can be a use of the block in that circumstance. Yeah? All right, let's try the other side. So now we're going to turn our left toes out. We have our right toes pointing to the side. And first we can take the traditional version of the pose. So again, we're taking our right hip and we're hinging our right hip over to the right. Okay, so as we're moving this hip over to the right, it's going to move our left shoulder over to the left. And that's what we want, right? So we're using this movement of our hips over to the right to then move our upper body in the other direction. And then we start to come down toward the floor until our hand reaches the floor. And then we look up to the ceiling. And again, if we want to try being against something. So we stand, I have a little bit of a thing here that pushes me away a little bit, but this is just for demonstration purposes, right? So then we lean. We want to have both of our butt cheeks touching. And also ideally we have our shoulders touching here as well. Yeah. So it helps us to really, really open. And having that while there or imagining while there can make sure that we're doing the pose correctly. Yeah? All right, let's go into the modifications. So, number 1, hinge, lean, and just stop wherever you need to stop and hover. Hover in the front, hover in the back. Recommendation, try to hover in the back. But like I said, that might be a little bit harder to stay up, and then you might be like, but then I can't, pay attention to my alignment. It's too hard to stay up. Then we take our block, and then we can rest the hand there, and it makes it easier to learn. Yeah? Beautiful. Now, finally, let's go into Ashtanga Style. I like to do this one sometimes, a lot of times actually. I just kind of like grabbing my toes. I think it's like this kind of nice connection to have the hands touching the feet. You can feel something different when you do it. Yeah, so to me, that's kind of the reasoning for it, is just to like create that connection between the body, right? So it's totally up to you which ones you want to do. So again, we are hinging, and we're leaning. And now instead of taking the hand behind, we just bring our peace fingers and we wrap them around our big toe, and then we close it with the thumb and we look up. Right, so it's going to make your shoulders be different. Right, so now we have to concentrate a little bit more on pulling back our left shoulder because our right one is forward more. Yeah. So just play around with it, see how it feels, and then you can figure out your variation. You can figure out which direction you want to work towards. Any of them are perfectly amazing. Yeah. All right, let's try again. The Ashtanga Style on the other side. So again, we're doing the same exact thing with our feet. And move the hips over to the right, and lean to the left, lean down, 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 down. And when we reach the toe, we grab it. And then we pull the right shoulder back, reach the right hand up, and look up toward the right hand. Yeah. Beautiful. All right, so that's that. If you have any questions, comments, concerns about Trikonasana or anything else, please feel free to let me know in the comment section below. Otherwise, I will see you in the next class. Thank you for being here with me, for allowing me to guide you, for trusting me. With so much love. Namaste.